Hi all. These are generally conversations between adults after the children have left the table. The language can be spicy and the subjects can get saucy. So if you're ready, this is the Southern Fork. Unscripted kitchen chats and also studio chats with some of the most interesting voices in the culinary South. I'm Stephanie Burt, a food and beverage writer based in Charleston, South Carolina, who travels with her fork to write for a variety of publications, from magazines you might have on your coffee table to the website you love to visit for your favorite recipes. And I'm inviting you to come behind the scenes with me to get to know the people who make this Southern culinary landscape so special. I'm always hungry for the next bite, thirsty for that next sip, and ready for the next conversation. Let's dig in. The Southern Fork is honored to be presented again this year by Townsend Automotive in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. For more than 48 years, the Townsend family of dealerships has been a locally owned company built on service and connection with its customers. And their experienced team can walk you through the car buying process side by side, from test drive to service oil changes and beyond. Townsend goes through a rigorous vetting process to make sure that every pre-owned vehicle adheres to quality standards. And right now, there's plenty on the lot to choose from in various makes and models. Visit townsendhonda.com for current inventory, or if you're in West Alabama, stop in. Townsend Automotive salutes local entrepreneurs, from restaurateurs to podcasters, and they welcome you to be part of a community that does the same. 42 miles south of Charleston, South Carolina, and home to a little more than 2,000 people, Edisto Island is a place where everyone knew everyone else when Emily Meggett was growing up. Today, she calls it a little slice of heaven, and says that when the side door is open, people know that there is food in her kitchen. And there is almost always food, since Miss Emily cooks big, as she calls it, cooking enough to feed 8 to 10 people on the regular. She began cooking professionally in 1954, and now at 89 years old has published her first cookbook, Gullah Geechee Home Cooking, Recipes from the Matriarch of Edisto Island. She spent a lifetime cooking and sharing Gullah Geechee food, keeping its distinctive flavors alive and celebrated, all while raising 10 children. She cooks with all her senses, and when she talks about cooking, she often uses her hands to demonstrate the method she's teaching you. It's beautiful, just like her laugh, especially when she sometimes refers to butts meat, her name for salt pork, one of her favorite flavoring ingredients. Welcome to the Southern Fork, Miss Emily.
Thank you.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, not only because I'm sitting inside your home on beautiful Edisto Island that you describe as a piece of heaven.
That's right.
But because I'm barely keeping my eyes open after having a snack of a biscuit and some pepper jelly, and you're telling me that you hadn't had a nap in a few days either.
Yeah, right.
So you definitely are a celebrity right now. This cookbook is getting all the love because it's so beautifully shot and beautifully written. Mm-hmm. And so we're definitely going to talk some cooking and stuff today, but I know you come from a tradition of cooking.
Yes.
Everybody cooks on Edisto Island.
Yes.
And I want to know when you knew you were a cook or you started calling yourself a cook. Because what you do, everybody cooks, but Miss Emily needs to bring that, right?
Well, I learned to cook from my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't like to go in the field, I didn't hate the sun. I go out in the field and work in the field. That's why Mama would say, you stay home and you do the cooking and the cleaning. So I would fix them their lunch, and then I would take it out to the field to them and come back, and then I started to do the dinner when they come home in the afternoon. So that was my job, to do the cooking.
And how many people were you cooking for?
I would say like 5 or 6.
Okay. And so you're packing up that food and taking it out to them while they're working?
Yes, for lunch. And sometimes it'll be biscuit and chicken. Sometimes it'll be a sandwich. But that was my job to do that while I was there.
So when did it change from being a job to something that really became enmeshed with your identity, some way that you were able to express yourself? Because you are through this book, right?
Well, you know, when I went out to work, because I did a lot of babysitting before I went out to work, and in 1954, when I went out to the Dodge House, then I really learned how to cook different dish. And the lady that taught me, I could kill her every day I go in the kitchen. Because if I didn't do it right, she would throw it in the garbage can.
Oh, my goodness.
And she said, now you better go to the refrigerator and find something for those girls to eat. Because I cook for the servant and she cooked for the others upstairs. And I said to her, I'm not going to stay here, but I stayed. And I stayed, and I learned a lot from her while I was there, while she was there. Because there are different dishes in that book that a lot of people can't fix, like how I fix it. And I learned by little bits and pieces how to do the cooking. And she never measured, and then I never measure. But when it's time come that the lady that inspired me to do that book, then I had to think about how much did I have to measure for the biscuit. I had to measure for the casserole dish. I had to measure for even cooking the grits. And I said, now, I know this thing is not going to work. But when the writer came from New York,
right,
she said to me, we have to sit down and think about all these measurements out of your brain to let people know how much to put in there. And it was hard for me to do that, but it turns out pretty good because we did 85 recipes.
And you consistently measure from your brain.
Yes.
And in your hand.
That's right.
Right? So it's not that you're not measuring, like Tony Tipton Martin said on Sunday. You're measuring. You're just not using the same measurement that I can use. Because my hand is not your hand.
That's right. That's right.
So when you're moved from being a cook and being taught to cook, and you're having a family and raising a family, there's a major community here in Edisto, and I want to talk a little bit about that. What is the dish that you had to bring to family gatherings, or did you have to cook it all? I have to bring pound cake because I'm good at pound cake. So they're like, ooh, you bring pound cake. Which one is like Miss Emily needs to bring the blank?
Well, red rice, Hoppin' John, fried chicken, and fish, baked pork chop. I would say those were my favorite to even take out to other people.
Well, and the fish, do you use the fish locally caught here and then fry it hard? Do you fry hard fish? You know, like the small fish, do you fry it whole?
Yes.
Yeah. Eat it with grits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fish and grits, or shrimp and grits and gravy.
Fish and grits is one of the best breakfasts ever. It's also the best. You know, a lot of people like to eat breakfast for dinner. That's the way to eat breakfast for dinner, I think.
Well, when I grew up, we had like fish for breakfast and shrimp and gravy for breakfast, unless we had fish and rice for dinner, or we had shrimp and gravy with rice for dinner.
And you have to eat those crispy tails.
Yes. Yes. You know, sometimes people would cut the fin off, but fried with that little piece of fin on it is nice and crispy too.
It's like a little crunchy goodness there. So there are a lot of people that are asking you about recipes and they want to try to replicate what you do. But you have been very clear in saying, I've given you what I can give you here, but I want you to be your own cook. How have you seen cooking change here on Edisto as a community?
Oh, it changed a whole lot because the traditional cook here on Edisto is you cook with salt and pepper. And now, you got all sorts of herbs and whatever. So I said to the girl that was helping me with the cook, I don't want my recipe to be jazzed up. I want it to be like the original.
So salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Seasoning salt.
Now, when seasoning salt and
Nature seasoning
came in possession, that's all I use. I got a cabinet full of other seasoning in there, but those two I use for everything.
Mm-hmm. Do you pack nature seasoning when you go on the road?
You might have to do it now if you can find it, because you can't find that nature seasoning. Seasoning salt anymore.
Well, you got to go to Costco. You got to send somebody to go to Costco for you.
Costco don't have it.
Uh-oh.
No place I bet that has the seasoning salt. They got nature seasoning, but they don't have seasoning salt.
So cooking is such a center of community, and if it's changed so much here, but you still talk about this place as cooking from Edisto. This is a very particular slice of life. This is your home. Are there still rhythms? Because cooking is a rhythm, right? Mm-hmm. And especially if you're cooking for your family lunch to take out to the field, as soon as you come back in, you've got to start dinner if you hadn't already started it at that moment.
Yes.
And then after dinner, you're cleaning up the dishes, and then it's time to start whatever you need to do to get ready for tomorrow, right?
But it never dawned on me, what am I going to have tomorrow? When I get through cooking my dinner and dinner is over, it's over. Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow, talk for your own self. When I wake up, I said, if I want to fix chicken for dinner, I fix fish, pork chop, collard greens, okra gumbo, whatever spring in my mind, that's what I cook. I never planned for it. But now when I do for the when I do for those that has cancer, Alzheimer's, then I go to bed and I say, well, I think I'm going to fix food for them tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to fix for them. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to fix for 11 people, or 18 or 20, I think about it about 2 o'clock in the morning. I wake up and I will say, I think I'm going to take care of my little people today. I'll get up if I got fish, shrimp, chicken, or whatever in the freezer. I'll get up 2 o'clock and take it out the freezer, put it in the sink, and when I get up, I'll be ready to cook for them.
That's awesome. I can't imagine cooking for 15 people and not planning until 2 a.m. I'm pretty sure all Southern Fork listeners are thinking the same thing. I'd be stressed about that for weeks.
No, but you know what? I can cook for 200, 300, 400 people and just give me the time.
It's so seasonal. Cooking is so seasonal. You've got chicken and fish and okra gumbo, and you can get things, but Edisto Island tomatoes are so good, and the squash is so good, and strawberries are so good. And I saw Newton's blueberries are starting up. They're not quite ready, I don't think. But what is the thing that you wait for when it comes in season?
Now, I wait for the vegetables to come, because now I got my little garden back there. I got like the okra and sweet corn. But if I don't have it here, I go to the market. King's Market, and they know that I cook for a lot of people. So she would tell me, "Don't bring your pocketbook in here. Come in here and get what you want and get out of here."
They're sweet.
So I was saying, now I don't have my garden like I used to, so I'll have to go to King's Market and get my vegetable. But it's not a problem.
So what is one of your favorite vegetables that you just gotta have?
Squash casserole.
And
okra gumbo, okra soup.
I was hoping you were going to say squash casserole because it is the first thing I'm making from this cookbook. I just got the cookbook on Sunday.
You hadn't made it yet.
I haven't made it yet. I've been traveling. Give me a minute. Hadn't even been at home. Give me a second. But I'll get back to the stove and I'll make that squash casserole. Yes.
The secret now to that squash casserole.
I'm hoping you're going to tell me.
Is that cream cheese?
Yes. Yeah. Well, cream cheese is a secret to a lot of things.
Yes, but now you don't find that in any other book for the cream cheese. And how I learned that this guy had a Christmas party and asked me to come and work on the Christmas party for him. So I saw him did that squash casserole because we used to do it by just cook the squash, put a little seasoning in it, a little breadcrumb, put it in the oven. Mm-hmm. When I saw him put that cream cheese in that pot and a little yellow cheese, I couldn't imagine. If we hadn't gotten some out there to eat before we put it out on the table, we didn't get any because the guy had the slice of bread. He was just scraping. He was just scraping the pan. Yeah. So that squash casserole, it's a hit.
Yeah, it's a hit.
That cream cheese make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might be one of those things I just make that for my own self for dinner, and I just eat that whole thing.
You will. You will.
Scrape the bread in the pot, just like that.
Take that slice of bread, and he would just going all around and sweeping up all the scraps that left in there.
Well, you talked on Sunday. I had the wonderful opportunity to go to Buxton Books, and so they do a lot of great author events, and make sure everyone listen to the end of the show because I'm going to talk a little bit more about this independent bookstore and what role they play in connecting authors to their fans. But there you said you were talking about red rice and said you've got to figure out how you need to make it, right? How you're making it. So when it comes to cooking has obviously enriched your life. And now, I mean, I'm not supposed to say a lady's age, but you keep saying it. So, 89. Got more jewelry on than I do right now. But it's enriched your life in a surprising way with this book, right? So why should people invest time in cooking? We have so many people that are focused on convenience, and they're also focused on so many other things. There's a lot of stuff that pulls away. And I'm in this world, and I have trouble answering that question because people say, I'm just not into food. I eat to live. I don't live to eat. I'm not a big cook. I'm not anti that, but I just eat for subsistence. Why would it be worth the time and investment to cook?
Well, to me, that's a joy for me to cook. I get a joy out of cooking. Mix no matter what it is, I get a joy out of doing it. A lot of people don't get a joy out of doing it because they don't know how, And if you don't know how to do it, it ain't going to work. When they said cook, go to Emily Meggett because she would put a pot together in a hurry. So then they know that I love to cook. Cooking to me is like blinking your eye. Makes the matter.
It's just part of your...
And it's not hard for me to do 2-3 pots salt one time.
But there was a time at the beginning, like we were saying, where that woman, you kept saying, I'm going to quit. I'm not going to stay at the Dodge House. So you had a tough road at the beginning, learning, right?
I learned.
But you learned. And so learning that and taking that pain has given you a lifetime of pleasure.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I said, now, although she was hard on me about cooking and cooking it right, I thank her in the grave today because I can cook things that a lot of people can't cook. Like I learned from her. But now, a lot of people wish they had the wisdom and the knowledge in their brain like I got in mine about cooking. Cooking is my life. Those kids, Mommy, don't do this, and Mommy, don't do that. I said, but if I sit down and don't do anything, what would happen? Oh, Uncle Arthur will take over.
That's arthritis for those of y'all that didn't grow up in South
Uncle Arthur will take over. So you know what thing? Time back, I could run and do it, but now I can do it, but I take a little more time.
Well, I feel like people should give me a medal when I make biscuits, and you just made them for me. We met for like 5 minutes, So it's definitely, it's a labor of love, and and it's how you show welcome, right?
I said when I grew up, we had to sit to the table and eat our dinner, breakfast, before we even go to school. But now the kids of today, they don't eat their breakfast. They eat lunch at school. Mm-hmm. And then when they come home, mom and dad take them to get pizza, hot dog, hamburger, French fry. They don't sit down to the table like a family. Sit down and enjoy their meal because mom would always cook. And I said, in the next 3-4 years, there ain't gonna be nobody out there cooking but the one that's cooking now. Because most of the mom work, when they come home, they're tired. The kids don't have a chance to eat a hot meal.
Well, hopefully you can feel this, but this is one of the hottest books of spring 2022 in my world. It has made a huge splash. My mom actually called to tell me about this new cookbook that I needed to pay attention to and she'd read about it in Martha Stewart Living. I said, I'm on it. I'm trying to see Miss Emily and see if I can work it out. So I'm so grateful that you took the time to do this today. But there's been so much success and so much excitement. And I know this book was a challenge because you had to translate something that you don't put into words. Mm-hmm. It's just part of your body psyche. It's just in your brain and it just comes out, right? And to get it done correctly for you, because this is, a beautiful work of art that is now for your family and for all of us. Mm-hmm. What's making you hungry? Are you going on tour? Are you going to start cooking with Bobby Flay? What's up?
What makes me hungry is sweets. Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Mm-hmm. And apple pie. Oh, God. Those are the favorite thing that I like in sweets. So that makes me hungry.
And specifically Haagen-Dazs?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Those kids would buy the Haagen-Dazs. Say, Mommy be bringing you some Haagen-Dazs. I don't eat sweet anymore. Mommy, I don't believe you. They bring that Haagen-Dazs. And sometime I go to bed and I wake up like 12 or 1. And this hand here, if my sugar is low, this hand will tell me because it get numb. Mm-hmm. I get up and I come in the kitchen and get a bowl of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I get a bar of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. You go back to bed and the hand is just as good as ever.
There you go. It is medicine. I love that. It's
my Haagen-Dazs and that apple pie. Oh, Lord.
You do a top crust or a crumble crust?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. I said that make me hungry.
Yeah, it's making me hungry. Well, not really. I mean, I just had 2 biscuits. Who am I kidding? But what is one aspect of being a lifelong cook that really meshes with an aspect of your personality that showcases that?
Well,
so like one part of your personality that just fits with part of being a cook. For me, I'm a talker. So this is a good job for me because I do this for a living. So why is cooking a good job for you?
Because I'm a talker too. Those kids said, Mommy, come on, you talk too much.
So you're talking while you're cooking?
I'm either talking about I'm cooking or I'm always talking to somebody about cooking, Mm-hmm.
And you just teach them with every moment.
Yes, yes. So I'm a talker to this, Mommy, come on, those people got to go.
I love it. But you can lure them in with cooking. And then you got to talk to them.
Oh, yeah. And you know what my uncle used to say? You could win a man by their stomach because their stomach... it melts these to their stomach. If you feed them, they're gonna be like a cat or a dog.
They keep hanging around.
They keep coming back.
Love it.
So when he go home, he will remember he's gonna fly back here to Edisto. Come back. I think I'm going back to Emily Meggett. Her see if she got any more biscuit and slaw. Pepper jelly.
That's right, with pepper jelly. Is there anything keeping you up at night? Anything worrying you right now?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. When night come, I'm like somebody's smoking weed, drinking liquor, drinking a beer, or having a sip of wine. That's how night come to me. All I have to do, take a shower, and put my head on that pillow. I tell those kids, I said, my bed is full of weed because I can't keep my eye open. Once I lay down.
You're going to have more people hanging around if you keep telling people that. Like, hey.
5 minutes.
Somebody say, hey, can I use the restroom? And then you see them in your bedroom going like, where's that?
5 minutes.
I
never have a problem with sleeping.
That's
Once
great.
I hit my head hit that pillow, good night. My husband used to go right there to the bathroom to take a shower. By the time he gets up, I'm gone. Laverne is here. Laverne, I said, you can't go to bed at night. I gets in my bed. I don't know when they go to bed.
You're out.
No problem sleeping.
Wow, that's great. Now, this one is a bit of a question, especially for someone like you. So I'm going to set it up for you. This is a dream scenario. And it's a question that I reserve just for Southern Fork guests. And that is, I want to bring you a magic picnic basket, just an imaginary one, full of some of your favorite things. So in order to get those favorite things, I time travel so I can go back and ask anybody to make that one more taste that you wanted in the past. I can also source for you, and I can cook a little bit, but probably not put anything in the basket based on the biscuits that I had today. So I would love to bring you some of your favorite things that other people have cooked for you. So what can I bring you?
Well, devil crab.
Devil crab.
Big pork chop. Cabbage, steamed cabbage. And maybe red rice with that salt pork. Butts meat. I'll take butts meat over bacon any day. Okra soup, a little shrimp. Lima beans. Those are my favorite.
Lima beans. Lima beans.
Lima beans with salt pork, butts meat. And how I does mine, those kids say, Mommy, you don't need to eat that butts meat because it ain't good for you. I said, well, I'm 89, almost 90. And he didn't kill me yet. What I would do, I'd cook my lima beans with just a ham hock. And I always cook like 4 to 5 bags. 4 to 5 bags of lima beans. And then when I eat out of it today, tomorrow I bag it up and put it in the freezer. So when I need it, lima beans, all I have to go to the refrigerator, fry my butts meat, put some onion in there, and open that bag and put it on the stove and let it cook down. Might as well make your time work for you if you're already cooking, right? That's right. That's right. Mouth water. Probably nobody makes that stuff as good as you do. But you know, if you go by that book, you may not come as near as I'm doing it with my hand, but you will come very close. With your own hand. Well, on that note, people want to learn more about Miss Emily Meggett, the Matriarch of Edisto Island, and her new cookbook, Gullah Geechee Home Cooking. You can go to thesouthernfork.com. As usual, I'm going to have links there so you can hear the voice and then see the beautiful face behind the voice. If you like what you hear, there are more than 275 episodes in the archives covering some of the most interesting and beautifully lilting culinary voices in the American South. So thank you so much sincerely for opening your home to us today. It has been a true blessing for this job. Thank you. I said, anybody that comes to that door, they have to come to that door as family and friends. I don't entertain guests because my home is your home. My home is your home. Hello and welcome to Talking with My Mouth Full. I want to say a special thanks today to Buxton Books, who invited me to Miss Emily Meggett's book signing. Buxton Books is a wonderful independent
bookstore located on Lower King Street in Charleston, South Carolina. And I have been introduced to many wonderful authors through their bookstore, not only their actual shelves. Polly and her staff do an amazing job of curation, especially when it comes to really good Southern cookbooks. And they also do really wonderful events. And so I've met a lot of authors there through the years, and it's just a bookstore that I would definitely put on your radar for your next Charleston visit. Now, do y'all know about bookshop.org? This is a great way to support your independent bookstores to order books online from your local bookstore. And you don't have to call them and ask them to ship a book. If your local bookstore is cooperating with bookshop.org, you can go on and check. All you have to do is search the shop, and you can choose your shop and then shop online just as you would for other online retailers. But every time you purchase a book from bookshop.org with your shop selected, you will be supporting your local independent bookstore. I have chosen Buxton Books as my independent bookstore of choice, and I would suggest if you don't have one to pick them, but of course you might have a favorite. So anyway, just wanted to let you know about that wonderful service. I'm really grateful. It's so much fun. And I also just want to mention especially Buxton Books, since they have cookbook authors, they often have food at their author events, and everyone that works at Buxton chips in and often makes a recipe from the cookbook. So I just love that detail, and I of course love having a bite to eat when I am meeting a new author. So anyway, thanks so much for listening today. I'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to The Southern Fork. I can't wait to bring you more culinary conversations, but in the meantime, I have one question. Are you gonna eat all that?